back, everybody. This is Edwin, the Magic Engineer. I know I've been offline for a little bit, but I've been just focusing on family stuff, Christmas stuff, just having a good time, and working on some things you might see that are a little bit different in the background. But I wanted to make this video because a lot of people are going to do, like, you know, beginning of the year videos, how, you know, the year 2018 has actually gone, kind of review like their own role in like the channel and the community and stuff like that. And I want to talk about financial advice in terms of like magic and in terms of like investments and stuff like that, because over the last like couple years I've given a lot of advice in those topics and I've spoken about them just in general quite a bit. And there's been some good and some bad in terms of like the reception of the information I've given and like issues it's created and stuff. So I kind of actually want to go over what my track record actually was and talk about some of the big calls that I've actually made and describe how those have actually turned out and just kind of show you guys some details, and I'll have links and stuff to the videos that I'm describing and show what I've been doing in Instagram. And I'm actually going to talk about how, at least for Magic the Gathering, why I'm not anymore really going to be doing very many price calls on cards that I think are going to be going up or down in value. I'm deciding that I'm kind of done with that, and it largely has to do with just not wanting to get involved with all the arguing, you know, because I made this channel for fun. I don't do this channel for profit. I do this because I enjoy it, right? And I gave people advice because I think I wanted to help people go get cards before they went up, because I knew there was investment that was running in. I knew that there was other players that wanted those cards. And for the people that were actually following my channel, I thought it was a nice thing to do to let them know about price movements before they happened. And so I would give advice for those reasons. And I said those were the reasons I was actually doing it. But I just got involved in all these arguments and all these really petty people, you know, claiming that all I care about is like finance, and because Rudy and Dan are my friends, from Rudy from Alpha Investments and Daniel Chang from Vintage Magic, because they're my friends, I'm obviously a corrupt, evil person, and I'm only doing this so like they can have gains with their business or some shill thing. It was ridiculous. I got involved in all these arguments. I'm just not going to do that anymore. So to any of you that were really, you know, excited to see my price calls, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, you know, because this is a channel that's meant for fun. I don't do this to argue. I don't want to like battle with people, and I'm kind of done with it. And so, sorry, the rest of you are just going to have to just figure out those prices on your own without me giving advice on them. But anyways, I've done it a lot, so let's talk about what that actually is, how those price advice pieces have actually gone. So I'm going to talk about the big picture pieces at first, then I'll switch over and talk about some of the other individual cards. I give more details there. So let's see. So what you've got here is I've got a list of some of the big movements that I've described. You can see them here in this list that I've created here. But the first one, like when I bought my beta set, you can see this happened on August 12th of 2016. That's actually my birthday when I released this video. And I bought this entire set of like beta that was like all the commons, all the uncommons, and like 45 of the rares. And it was a really big moment in my life. It was a cool moment, and I did this, and this was before I made my Magic Engineer channel. This is right before I met Daniel Chang and we became friends and stuff. But I'd been telling people around me that I thought that this was going to be a big thing. These were going to go up in value. That's why I'm mentioning this, because I made this video and posted it on August 12th of 2016. And I bought that set for $12,000, and now, I mean, $12,000 would buy like 3 of the Moxes that were in here. Like everything else is just gravy, so that was just a ridiculously good call. Then the next one that I've got here on my list is on October 8th of 2017. This is after I made my channel, and I started actually giving price advice. I started telling people that, you know, old school is pretty much where it's at. That's where the prices were going to go, and I was describing that people should really look into buying old school cards, and I was at first really talking about the big ones. And at this moment that I was showing this Chaos Orb, I think I had just pretty recently bought it for 550 bucks, and that's a beta Chaos Orb, and I went through a bunch of my other cards, and I was talking about how all the cards here in the background are just probably just going to go down in value for the most part, or stay pretty flat for an awful long time. So that was October 8th of 2017. And then the next one here, let's see, this was, I was talking about, in this video, I started discussing how a lot of the smaller cards in old school were going to start going up in value quite a bit. Now you can see here there's like a Llanowar Elf and a Beta Giant Growth and a Centennial Druid and Lightning Bolts and things like that that are back here. And I'm discussing about how all these smaller cards, everything small in old school that's like a common but a very playable card is definitely going to be going up in value. And that was on October 29th of 2017. So that ended up, of course, as you guys now know, that ended up being a really good call. Anyone who took my advice and started buying old, small, playable, old school cards did very well, right? Okay, now the next one, I was talking about cryptocurrency. There's a good screenshot in there somewhere. We'll have to see. Whoa, there we go. There, I'm busting a move, right? So anyways, this video was called The Crypto Pullback and Nerd Capital Movement. And this one is a good one to look at because at this moment, January 29th of 2018, I was telling people that I believe that cryptocurrencies were going to continue dropping in value. And I knew a lot of people were moving their cryptocurrency investment into Magic the Gathering. I've got a couple of pictures of the price action for those so you guys can actually see how that actually turned out. Now, this picture you're looking at right here, this is the Bitcoin in US dollars, and it goes all the way until today. You know, so at that point when I made that call, you can see Bitcoin was at $11,400. And it had gone through the big bubble pop, and I'm telling people to get the heck out of it. And here's where we're at today. So obviously, the thing I told people to do was sell. That was right. Now, the next video, or image, I've just got, it's hard to show prices on all of them. But here's that same moment in time. Oh, no, sorry, that's October 29th. So let's see, January. Okay, so right about here is where I was telling people to move into Magic the Gathering old school cards. You can see when Llanowar Elves hit their spike, and I was telling people to buy old school kind of all through here. And I'm just showing this one common here, but you go back and look at any price chart and you'll see that old school was really taking off in prices around that time. So that was definitely like a good call to actually give people about that. So now the next one here, okay, this was, I'm actually really proud of this one. This is the video when I was telling people about stock market, and I literally said, yes, a stock market crash is going to be coming. And in this video, what I did is I said, first of all, that there is a... Ooh, look, it looks like I'm breathing really hard right there. What's wrong with me? So this was on September 29th of 2018. Yes, a crash is coming. I was talking specifically about the stock market. Now, this is the picture that relates to that. And as you can see, this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And this is all the way from 2014 until pretty recently here today, right? You can see the Dow was going up, and you see at this little peak I've got highlighted right here, that says 10-1, right? Let's see, so my video was September 29th, so that was, let's see, 29th was just right there, you know, right at the beginning of that crash. So I pretty much nailed that one. So the September 29th would be 9/29. So right there, I nailed that peak. That's when I told people to sell the stock. There's general stocks from the stock market. I said the crash was coming, and you can see what happened afterwards. So that was definitely a good call. And in this video, I went through the math of like why that's the case, why interest rates make a difference. And then I went over this chart of how interest rate increases has preceded every single crash. The gray lines, dark grays, the vertical ones are recessions. And then this is the interest rate. You can see the federal funds rate going up before each of the big crashes. And so, yeah, I nailed that one, absolutely. That ended up being a really good call. And if you guys listen to me on that, you hopefully saved an awful lot of money. The next one I went over is I said, here's 5 reasons not to own Bitcoin in my Pack and Point episode 7. And what I was describing here was not short term. What I'm describing here is still forward-looking, because I'm saying 5 reasons on why long-term I do not think that Bitcoin is a really good thing to own, like long-term, because I don't know where it's going to go short-term. but I definitely believe over a long period of time that Bitcoin is going to go down, and it's going to go down for the reasons that I had called out in this video, and I showed, like, I gave a lot of very factual reasons for that. So let's see, did I actually grab? Okay, so here's a couple images of it. So this is 2 years of Bitcoin. You can see that price, like when it hit that peak, and somewhere around here is when I was telling people to go switch into Magic. And right about here is when I made this video, and I was telling people to get out of Bitcoin. And you can see what happened shortly afterwards, right? This is this nice little precipitous drop here right off the cliff. And here's that same chart, but it's zoomed in a little bit. This is where I made my video, told people to get out of Bitcoin long term, and sure enough, it's definitely dropped. So that definitely ended up being a good call, telling them to get the heck out of Bitcoin. Now, another call that I made is I told people that, along other channels were of course saying this as well, that old school prices were probably going to pull back for a little while. And I would basically like slow down on my buying. I'd wait for the prices to pull back and stabilize, and then I'd start buying again. Now, I made this call on October 11th of 2018. Let's see, do I have an image for that? Okay, so October 11th. So yeah, that's what I've got zoomed in right here. And so on this chart, we're looking at an underground C. You can see we're going back a little ways. You can see down here how the price action on that card has really gone up for a long period of time. But this is what we're looking at right now. And see that little dot we've got right there? That's right where I was telling people to just kind of hold off because the prices were going to be falling for a little bit. And you can see how they've been coming down. They seem to be stabilizing. And at this point, I'm actually buying some old school cards again. In fact, I'm picking up some Mishra's workshops as we speak. I'm buying them online and trying to find some good prices. So, but this was October 11th, right when I gave that call, and I said that I thought old school prices were going to pull back a little bit and then stabilize, and that's definitely, in fact, what they did, right? So now, in terms of the smaller calls, let's go over those a little bit. Now, let's see. This was on my Instagram account. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see on December 21st of 2017, I made a specific post about this, but I've been actually telling people to buy beta lands for just years. I've been mostly picking them up for $1 to $2 each, and I really started to see the prices move on those. And so I made an Instagram post and said, yeah, go get your beta basic lands on December 21st of 2017. And you can see how the price action is basically gone. And so that ended up being, of course, a really good call. They've definitely continued going up. I've seen some of these at times peak over $100 a card if they're in really good condition. So this is like our low average they're showing here. I had a hard time finding good price charts of what you see for like the mint copies, because they've really shot up. They're not $30. A mint copy much more often goes for closer to $100, especially for the islands. Now, for this one, I've been telling people to buy Chaos Orbs specifically for a while, and I had just bought this Chaos Orb when I made this post. So this was to September 22nd of 2017, and you can see that my beta Chaos Orb that I just grabbed, and a few months before that, I'd grabbed an unlimited Chaos Orb for $130. I bought an unlimited Chaos Orb. And that whole time, I was telling people that old school is big, go get your Chaos Orbs. Well, here's what basically happened. Like, this is about that time. Right in here is where I bought that beta. And I bought my unlimited way back here. And so I bought my beta for $550, and then they shot up and they've gone for over like $3,000 like many times. Like mine was like played, so of course it wasn't worth like full $3,000, but it definitely quadrupled in price, right? And my unlimited that I bought for $130, like somewhere back here, even my unlimited, like in this range, was like $800. So yeah, that was a absolute good call as well. So when Brian Weissman switched over his version of the deck and went to Control Magics, I ran out as fast as I could and bought some beta Control Magics. I don't remember the price point I paid on these. I think it was something like $25, $30 a piece or something, I think it was, and that was May 10th, I think, of this year of 2018. And you can see right about there, so $30 is about what I got them for. And so I made that post and told people about it, and you can see what happened to the price of Control Magic. It just shot up. He had like $142. Just, yeah, massive gains there. And for Red Elemental Blast, April 20th of 2018, I said go grab them. I talked about how good they are. And you can see right here on this chart, there's the dot of when I told people to buy them. And you can see that the price has just shot up on the Red Elemental Blasts. Here on Instagram, on May 11th, I was talking about Sarah Angels and how I thought they're going to go up. I was specifically telling people to buy the 4 and black borders here. But of course, like in comments and in person, I was telling people go grab the betas as well. And here on this chart, that's where I bought them. And you can see what happened to them after that. Here, I made a prediction for strip mines. I picked up most of my strip mines, like these ones down here were actual antiquities. And these ones were 4 and black border on the top. And because I was building old school decks, and I realized how important strip mines were and that people were going to just really want to have black border versions, and how I myself needed multiple copies because I was always putting like 4 of them in every deck I was playing. So I went out and I bought these antiquities ones for like 15 bucks. I bought the 4 and black border ones for like 8 bucks, and that was on January 1st. And right there is January 1st when I bought them. Then I made that Instagram post, and boom, they shot up. And of course they've leveled off some, but I don't expect this to hold. I definitely expect them to start going up again. But yeah, this one like shot up over $300. So I bought mine for like, 15 bucks, and they're still sitting over $90, right? And so, and this is the last one I'm going to go through on these. And this is the one that I got into the most arguments with people about. I realized that Shahrazad was a really good card, and it's an underplayed card. And I don't mean like it's a 5-star tier 1 card, but I mean it has a lot more value than it was being given credit for. And this was after this card, won inside. It took first place inside of a deck at the Old School Players Ball. That's what caught my attention. And I looked at it and realized, how unique it is being reserve list and totally unique effect, and nothing can really replace it, and how it's a 10 damage to your life, to your opponent's life for a white, which is weird and stuff. And so that was September 14th when I made this post. And then as you can see, that right there is where I made the post, and sure as heck, the price shot up. I bought most of mine for 240 bucks a piece. Price went over like, $800 most of the time, at least over $750. And yeah, it's settled out, but it's still settled at way above the price that I actually said. But that's the one I want to like focus on and talk a little bit more about, because that one is really why. Oh, that's a large reason why I'm just not going to give a lot of like price direction, because as you might notice from this Shahrazad one, actually let me switch back to the actual chart so you can see it again. So here's where I gave my prediction. The price shot up, and then the price fell down, right? And then a lot of people, you can see for a couple of these, I made my prediction, like especially on this, and then the price shot up. There's a valid question to be asked. If Edwin says buy a card here, and then the price goes up like crazy, the valid question is was that a real market price, or was Edwin pushing the price around? And that's a valid perspective, right? I was not giving people financial advice on these cards because I wanted to control the market. That wasn't the point. In fact, like I got accused many times of backing up the truck and buying a lot of cards and then recommending them. Then the market goes up and then I make all this money. I don't do that. I bought 2 extra copies of Shahrazad just so like after I told people about it, I could have something to sell to like pay for the Shahrazads. But then like after I did that, like that was all that these people needed to come fling me about it, right? And for the record, I still own them. I haven't sold them. But anyways, that started such an argument, and the valid part of it is, am I now predicting where the market's going as just a bystander like anyone else, or has my channel now gained enough influence where my prediction was actually shoving the price around? And based on those charts, somebody could make a valid argument that maybe this is something that I said actually shoved them up. And that's actually another reason why I'm dropping giving price direction for Magic cards, because I don't want to be that person. I'm not looking to be someone who's manipulating and shoving the market around. And I don't know if I had that much influence. The charts kind of seem to indicate it, because I made several predictions and then those prices just shot up on those cards. I don't think for my earlier predictions that was the case. I was just another one person, just like anyone else, looking at it and saying, here's where I thought these prices were going to go, and then they actually did. For some of the later ones, yeah, that did actually seem to be the case. So I've actively, you guys might have noticed, I've been trying to avoid actually talking about Magic Card price predictions and investment opportunity on my Instagram lately. I don't have any, I guess, reason to jump out of that realm for like normal finance, like stock markets and Bitcoin and stuff like that, for real estate, because like I'm no influence on those markets, guaranteed whatsoever. Like I'm nothing in those markets. So I can go right ahead and talk about it, and nobody that's big in that stuff is paying any attention to me. So no fears there. And it's not like I'm going to like, you know, say everyone should buy real estate and then like run in and like buy or sell a bunch of real estate. Yeah, no worries. So I'm perfectly fine making price predictions here moving forward about real estate, stocks, bonds, cryptocurrencies, things like that, but definitely not for Magic anymore. But I hope you guys can actually see that over the last like couple years, did Edwin give investment advice? Yeah, I did. Did it work out? Yeah, it actually did. The advice that I gave you guys actually was good. Not everything that I predicted was going to go up went up. I don't think there was anything that I predicted that would go up that actually fell, but there's a few that just stayed flat. Sure, that happened as well. Most of the time it did actually go up though. I was dead on the money about that. In terms of like stocks and stuff right now, if anyone's curious, I've been staying liquid. The Dow now over Christmas just dropped a ton, just like I kind of told you guys it was going to. I'm still staying liquid. I don't think that trend is really, to a large extent, going to reverse until like interest rates get dropped again to kind of make them artificially low, or until like central banks start printing currency, kind of doing things to kind of do bailouts and help. But it's even possible right now that the amount of debt that the world is carrying and the pain felt by the interest rates and such might have already done so much damage that even if they do drop rates down, that might not actually fix it. So I'm personally staying mostly on the sidelines right now. I've been waiting for this correction. It's now here, and I'm watching to see where I'm going to jump back into markets personally. And so, yeah, that's what it basically is. Like when I think the signals look right, when I think the market has stabilized, especially if like interest rates have been dropped now and they're doing QE4 and they're printing up money again, that's where I'm going to look real interested in jumping into stocks, or maybe jump into real estate or something like that. I do need to clarify, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an engineer, guys. All I do is I write code, I design circuits, I fix things, right? That's my career. I don't do any of this stuff, magic or finance, because like I have a career in it. I just do this for fun. And I'm describing to you guys what I'm doing. I've been giving out my own price calls on things. Yes, they've actually worked out, but I'm not a financial advisor, right? So just take it as this is what Edwin's going to do. If you guys are going to copy what I'm doing, that's up to you, right? If you're going to make that call. But anyways, that's what this video was about. I just wanted to talk about that. Thanks everyone for coming along with all the price action over the last couple years in all these different investments. And sorry to the Magic community that I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm tired of the fighting. I don't do this to fight. I don't do this to argue. It sucks that happens. And if you see people just being snotty and yelling about that, then maybe you guys should go yell at them instead of me yelling at those people. I'm tired of doing that. I'm doing this whole channel for fun. I hate the arguments. Anyways, thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the rant there. You guys have a great 2019. I'll see you there.